submission. This says, I am your servant, but I'm not going to let you go. This is the same kind of spirit and attraction that Ruth had for Naomi. Naomi, after their husbands had died, instructed her daughters-in-law to go on back to your people now. We have no men to help us. Go back to your people, and I'll go back to my people. Now, Orpah was weeping, and she was reluctant, but she did. She went back to her people, but not Ruth. The scriptures say, but Ruth cleaved unto her. And Ruth said, entreat me not to leave thee, or to return from following after thee, for whither thou goest, I will go. Where thou lodgest, I will lodge. Thy people shall be my people, and thy God my God. Where thou diest, I will die, and there will I be buried. The Lord do so to me and more also, if aught but death part thee and me. This is the same kind of spirit these people will have, earnestly seeking for the Lord. They'll find whoever has the Lord, they'll take hold of his skirt and not let him go. And the ratio will be 10 to 1. 10 to 1, at least. 10 men will take hold of the skirt of him who is a Jew. Now, it won't be 10 men from the same family, 10 men of different languages from all the nations of the earth, gripping the skirt of one Jew. The divine spotlight will be on the Jews. We, believing Gentiles, hope for the same thing, that men from many nations would take hold of our skirt and go with us. And I believe that this will happen to believing Gentiles in a greater measure than we see now. But this prophecy is to Jews and about Jews. God hath not cast away his people, which he foreknew. Amen. I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? God forbid. But rather through their fall salvation is come unto the Gentiles, for to provoke them to jealousy. Now if the fall of them, that is, if the fall of the Jews be the riches of the world, and the diminishing of them the riches of the Gentiles, how much more their fullness? More. For if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world, what shall the receiving of them be but life from the dead? 10 men will take hold of the skirt of him who is a Jew, saying, we will go with you. And why? For we have heard that God is with you. This will happen because men from every nation will associate the Jews with God, whom they seek. We have heard that God is with you. We are not letting you go because God is with you. We will go with you because God is with you. Arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people, but the Lord shall rise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. And the Gentiles shall come to thy light, and kings to the brightness of thy rising. Lift up thine eyes round about and see, all they gather themselves together, they come to thee. Thy sons shall come from afar, and thy daughters shall be nursed at thy side. Then thou shalt see and flow together, and thine heart shall fear and be enlarged, because the abundance of the sea shall be converted unto thee. The forces of the Gentiles shall come unto thee. This is some of the riches when the Lord receives the Jews again, when they are reconciled, and he receives them. Much more, he said. Much more. So I long to see this day when the Lord performs this great work and his glory is seen in people, in the believing Jews first, and also in believing Gentiles. The day when the attention of the earth will be drawn to what God is doing in Jerusalem and in his people. I long to see when people from every nation who are seeking God will come to his people in large numbers. And when Babylon will not be the star anymore, when the glory of the Lord is risen upon his people. Now, isn't it interesting that the fall of the Jews brought in the grafting of the Gentiles, but when the Lord receives them again, yet more Gentiles will take hold of the skirt of the Jew and join themselves to them. How much more their fullness? These are things that will happen when God returns to his city and his people with mercies. This isn't about a glorious building or just a glorious city, but this is a prophecy about God's people being in fellowship and in communion with him and association with him. And this is made obvious. The people from many cities and nations in this text are seeking God himself, and they are willing to leave all and go to the place where they know God is, the city Jerusalem. They aren't going there for a vacation. They go there to pray before God. It is the Lord of hosts that they seek. They take hold of the skirt of him that is a Jew because of his association and his obvious blessedness of God. And these people will come because God has illuminated them and drawn them. The people which sat in darkness saw a great light, and to them which sat in the region of the shadow of death, light is sprung up. So my word to you, saints, is to be looking for God to do what he said he will do, and to be ready for it. My suggestion is to you to wear garments with large skirts. We won't always be in small number and unknown. It shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. And many people shall go and say, Come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob. And he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more. O house of Jacob, come ye, let us walk in the light of the Lord. Amen.